All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on how all our modern apps talk to each other so securely. We're going to demystify two pieces of tech you use literally every single day, probably without even thinking about it: OAuth and JWT. And we're going to start with a question you definitely already know the answer to.
Of course you have, right? We all have. You find some cool new app, maybe a photo editor or a game, and you see that beautiful, easy button, sign in with Google. You click it, and boom, you're in. It feels like magic. Well, that one little click is the perfect way to understand this entire topic.
You know, it's kind of crazy to think about, but back in the day, if an app wanted to access your photos on, say, Flickr, it would just ask for your Flickr username and password. Yeah, you'd literally type your main password for one service into a completely different website.
Oh yeah, terrible idea is putting it lightly. This was a total security nightmare. I mean, think about it. That third-party app now had the keys to your entire kingdom. It could do anything. Read your private messages, change your password, post weird stuff for you, everything. And you had no way to control it other than changing your password and breaking everything.
Thankfully, we came up with a much smarter way to handle this. And that's where OAuth comes in. The big idea here is, instead of handing out our master key, our password, we give apps a special, limited-use key that only works for a very specific job.
You know, a really great way to think about this is like a hotel key card. When you check in, you show your ID and credit card, your master credentials, to the front desk. You only show it to them. In return, they don't give you the master key to the whole hotel, right? They give you a key card that only opens your room, and only for the next few days. OAuth is that digital key card.
So, to make this crystal clear, let's walk through a little story. Let's say you've got all your awesome photos stored in an app called SnapStore, and you just found a new service called PrintMagic that, you guessed it, can print your photos on all sorts of cool stuff.
And there it is. That's the big question. You want PrintMagic to be able to see your photos that are sitting inside SnapStore, but there's no way you're going to give it your actual SnapStore login details. So how do we solve this puzzle? This is the exact problem OAuth was built for.
Now, before we see how it all works, we've got to meet the cast of characters. In every single OAuth transaction, there are 4 key roles that are part of this elegant, secure little dance. Okay, this table lays it all out perfectly. First, there's you. You are the resource owner because, hey, they're your photos. Then we have the client, which is PrintMagic, the app that wants to get access. The resource server is just the computer where your data is actually stored. So, SnapStore's photo servers. And finally, the most important player, the Authorization Server. This is the gatekeeper, the bouncer, the one who actually issues the special keys. In our story, this is also part of SnapStore. All right, we know who's on the dance floor, now let's watch the moves. The most common OAuth process is called the Authorization Code flow, and honestly, it's a thing of beauty.
So here's how it goes down. First, PrintMagic sends you over to SnapStore's website. You log into SnapStore, directly, safely, and SnapStore asks you, hey, is it cool if PrintMagic sees your photos? You click Allow. Now, here's the clever part. SnapStore doesn't give PrintMagic the real key yet. It gives it a temporary, single-use authorization code. Then, PrintMagic takes that code and goes back to SnapStore's authorization server behind the scenes and says, okay, I've got the code, now give me the real deal. It trades that code in for the actual access token. And it's that token that finally lets PrintMagic access your photos. And what's the most important part? PrintMagic never, ever saw your password.
So we keep throwing this term around, access token, this special key. But what is it really? Like, what's actually inside this thing that makes it so powerful? Okay, let's pop the hood and take a look.
Well, back in the old days, whenever you logged in, the server had to keep a list. It had to remember every single person that was logged in. We call that stateful. And as you can imagine, for huge websites with millions of users, that became a massive headache. Tokens are different. They're stateless. This means all the info the server needs to know about you is packed right inside the token itself. The server doesn't have to remember a thing, which makes everything way more efficient. And the rockstar, the most popular format for these stateless tokens, is the JSON Web Token, or as everyone calls it, a JWT. You can just think of it as a secure, self-contained digital passport. It's really just a long string of letters and numbers, but it's made up of 3 very important parts, all separated by dots.
So that first part is the header. This is basically the boring metadata. It just tells the server 2 simple things. Hey, I'm a JWT, And by the way, I was signed using this specific type of crypto. That's it. It's like the cover of the passport that says, this is a passport.
Now the second part, the middle part, this is the good stuff. This is the payload. This contains what are called claims, basically all the facts about you and what you're allowed to do. Things like your user ID, your name, and crucially, the permissions you approved, like read-only access to photos. All the info is packed right in here, which is what makes it self-contained. And this last part is the security magic. This is the signature. The authorization server takes the header and the payload, mashes them together, and then signs them with a secret key that only it knows. This creates a unique signature. Now, if a hacker tries to change anything in the payload, like, say, give themselves admin powers, the signature won't match anymore. The server will know instantly that it's a fake and just throw it out. Brilliant.
So you might be sitting there thinking, okay, that's pretty clever, but why is this specific combo, OAuth for getting permission and JWTs as the keys, why did this become the absolute bedrock of the modern internet?
Well, it really boils down to these 4 huge wins. First, your password stays safe, period. Second, apps only get the exact permissions they need, nothing more. Third, and this is massive for big companies, it's incredibly scalable. And finally, you are in control. You can go into your Google account settings right now and see a list of every app you've ever approved and just click a button to kick one out.
Let's really hammer home why that scalability point is such a game changer. Just imagine a big company, like your bank. You log in once to their website and they give you a JWT. Now, with that single token, you can go and ask their main banking server, hey, what's my checking account balance? That server checks your token, sees it's legit, and gives you the info. Simple.
But now, you click a link to check on your retirement account. Now that might be a completely different system, maybe even in a different building run by a different team, but because that retirement server knows the same secret key, it can also check your token and see that it's you. You don't have to log in again. That one passport works everywhere. You just can't do that with those old school service sessions. And that right there, that's the fundamental revolution. The proof of who you are and what you can do is no longer locked away in some database on one specific server. It's now stored in this portable token that you carry around. The server is totally freed from the job of having to remember who you are. And that really brings us to the biggest idea of all. When your digital keys, your proof of identity, no longer live on a central server, but instead live in a portable token that you hold. Well, how does that fundamentally change how we think about what a digital identity even is? It's no longer about a server remembering you. It's about you being able to prove who you are anywhere, anytime. And that shift is what makes the whole modern web possible.